Hi, I'm Jess Reeves, and this is my presentation on tort liability. A tort in common law jurisdictions is a civil wrong that unfairly causes someone else to suffer loss or harm, resulting in a legal liability for the person who commits the tortious act. In education, we have two kinds of torts. We have intentional torts and negligent torts. Intentional is when you intentionally want to cause them harm. Negligent is when you probably just didn't fulfill your duty, especially when you have a relationship with the person who was wronged. My first case is Mitchell versus Cedar Rapids Community School District. In summary, the mother of a special ed student sued the student's school district for damages the student sustained in an after-hours, off-campus sexual assault by another student. A jury found the school district negligent in failing to adequately supervise the special ed student and awarded damages. The girl had told the mom she's going home with a friend, and mom didn't question it or anything, but she also skipped out an extra hour of school, so she was unexcused absence for the last 2 hours of school. So the school didn't notify the mom she was unexcused until that night, when obviously it was too late for the mom to be like, why is my daughter not in school? And that's a big reason to why the judge awarded or fined, I guess, the school. If this happened at our school, we don't have a messaging system if somebody comes up unexcused. We don't run any sort of tasks or anything like that. There's no way, unless a parent were to ask, to let them know, hey, how many unexcused absences does Bobby have? We don't do anything with that. So I think the first thing that would happen is we would put in a messaging system or something to be like, hey, Bobby's unexcused for first hour, where is he? Also, that student or similar students, because she was a special ed student with a very low IQ, would most likely at our school have a 24/7 para, so they would have that extra measure of supervision. What proactive measures would you do to prevent? Communication with parents is key. Again, if they had called the mom to say, hey, she's unexcused for this hour, did you take her home and just not tell us what happened? Or if the mom had called the friend just to make sure of the plan, since she knew she was super low IQ, kind of high risk, this could have been avoided. Professional ethics in place help us cover our bases. In this case, it would have helped double check all the facts. As part of a school, we have to CYA, and part of that is double checking. My second case is Johnson versus School District of Millard. The plaintiff commenced this negligence action pursuant to the Nebraska Political Subdivisions Tort Claims Act, alleging the defendant, through its employee, was negligent that the employee failed to properly supervise students who were under her care. In music class, students were to practice singing London Bridge along with the motions while the teacher was looking away. A student was hurt by his partners. So the teacher had given the presentation, said, here's how you do this. And then she said, okay, you partner up. And then they did. And while they were doing their motions and singing, she had turned around to write something on the board. This case initially was awarded to the plaintiff, but it's under appeal because they only use the student's witness account for any of the jurisdictions, so now they're going back and reviewing it. If this happened at our school, especially music classes, there's generally a high student-to-teacher ratio, and I think even just having maybe a spare para or an extra set of eyes, a teacher aide, something, would help to monitor the kids. So she could have written on the board like she needed to, but somebody was still watching them. What proactive measures could have prevented this? Maybe let the students opt out of the activity so they didn't have to participate, and that would have helped the teacher. She could have said, hey, he didn't have to do it. It was optional. Unfortunately, at times teachers can't see all their students, and that can cause problems, especially in such a high student-to-teacher ratio class. But if there had been a teacher aide or another adult or someone else who could have watched or written on the board, vice versa. The third case I have is Rollins versus Concordia Parish High School. In 1982, Lisa Rollins, a 9-year-old fourth grade student, fractured her leg when she fell off a merry-go-round during physical education class on school grounds. The substitute teacher was monitoring two groups of students. There were boys playing on the basketball courts and girls were playing on the merry-go-round. She noticed the merry-go-round was going too fast and told the students to slow it down and get off. Just after she admonished the girls, two boys started yelling from the basketball court and arguing, so she went to them. The court determined Lisa was 50% at fault and the school was 50% at fault. The court actually determined that it wasn't all the substitute teacher's fault, but they did partially fault the school because there was another teacher available, and again, this is another high student-to-teacher ratio instances where they had another teacher available, but that teacher just didn't come out to help watch. So had there been another teacher there, one could have been with the boys, one could have been with the girls, and made sure everybody was doing what they're supposed to. If this happened at our school, I'm 99% sure there's always more than one adult on our playground. I've never seen just one adult with a bunch of kids on the playground. What proactive measures would have prevented this? I think the sub did what she was supposed to do. You're a sub, you don't really know the lay of the land. She admonished the girls in the merry-go-round to slow down. She tried to take care of that problem. I don't think she should have been out there by herself, and I think that would have prevented this problem. Because the case did say there were 40 students to just the substitute teacher, and that's a lot. If a set student-to-teacher ratio is mandated at the school, then that available teacher would have been, I guess, upheld to having to be there, and that the whole situation could have been avoided. My fourth case, Kara Kowalski versus Berkeley County Schools. In a case involving cyberbullying, a student sued the school district for limiting her First Amendment free speech rights by suspending her for creating a hate website against another student at school. The Fourth Circuit determined that the speech created actual or reasonably foreseeable substantial disorder and disruption at school. Therefore, this was not the speech the school is required to tolerate and did not merit First Amendment protection. So basically, the girl creates a hate website to another girl at her school, and the school then suspends her for creating it because it's causing problems at school, and she thinks she can sue the school because they can't do that, but they can because it was causing a disruption at school. If this happened at our school, I'd assume nothing different would have happened. It would have been nice to have an extra bullying seminar just to remind students that bullying is not a victimless crime. It's not an okay thing to do. Proactive measures. Students can be reminded that bullying is not secular to school or home. Often those activities intertwine, and if the act interferes with school, the school will intervene. Even if it's your personal cell phone, if it's causing problems at school, it's a school problem. Professional ethics here would help as it is imperative that teachers report what they see so that situations like this can become aware. Maybe there was something leading up to these two girls in the hate website that could have been reported so that it could have been stopped before it got to this. My fifth case, De Guyer versus Harkness. In 1944, this is actually the very first hazing case in a non-post-secondary setting. In this case, South Dakota's Supreme Court affirmed a jury verdict that found the high school athletic coach liable for his active participation in the initiation rites of the school's Letterman Club that led to the wrongful death of a student. The particular initiation employed in this case was to administer electric shock via device with the coach present and assisting. The court found the coach was charged with the highest degree of care that skill and vigilance could suggest, and that he failed to observe the duty owed to the students being initiated, and thus was liable for the student's wrongful death. So this is back in 1944. It's a long time ago. Hopefully we don't want to think this happens anymore, but it's a good case to think about. The coach is actually there pretty much tasing the new members to get into the Letterman's Club. So obviously he's at fault for that because you got to have some common sense. You can't just go around shocking your students as much as you want to. If this happened at our school, I would like to think the coach definitely would have been terminated, and as a result, his negligence, it would have definitely set up some new policies and probably trained that coaches and teachers would need to attend. Proactive measures. Teachers and coaches need to use common sense. and act with care, and we are there to keep students' best interest and health in mind. I don't think hazing students is of anybody's best health interest. A set of policies and procedures in place may not have prevented this, but it would have helped to eliminate the staff that was allowing this to take place. There's probably a lot of hearsay, and I would almost guarantee people knew about this beforehand. So, the policies set in place maybe would have helped other teachers turn him in or take care of the problem before it led to a student death. And these are my references.